Start before you're ready. Ugh, I'm so not ready. Hi! If we haven't met before, you should know I'm not a nice person. I talk about myself way too much. I think my problems are worse than anyone else's. I lack empathy. I have the usual mental issues that every kid on the internet, certainly every person who actually does anything on the internet has. And I don't even have the benefit of being a kid. I mean, far from it. Today is my birthday. I'm feeling thankful for the small things today. That's a Gen X reference. Being here, talking to you, is going to require all the hyper-focus my ADHD can give me, and I'm frankly gonna have to turn off my bullshit detector completely. All that by way of a warning. I'm not a gamer, I'm not a bro, I'm not any character in Emily in Paris. I'm solidly Gen X, but I've never watched a single episode of Friends or Seinfeld. Well, maybe one or two, but like, that's it. And I don't have 10 easy tips on how to beat ADHD or organize your life or get the most out of living in New York or London or Paris or get ripped in 30 days or whatever. I believe Palestine should be free, trans women are women, trans men are men, and the Toronto Maple Leafs won their last Stanley Cup the year before I was born, so maybe it's me. So I get it. Okay, good. They're all gone. Hi, I'm Tony. I live with my wife. She's an author, and our 3-year-old son. I lived in New York for 23 years, and last week we celebrated our first year in Paris. Paris is great. I have some pictures. I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 51 years old, so I have a ton of coping mechanisms that don't involve being aware of my own condition. Once I get back on meds, though, whoo boy, kitty bar the door. We're currently going through the bureaucratic nightmares of getting our French health cards. That's coming along. Any day that happens, that'll be a good day. This is the biggest transition of our lives, and to cope with the stress of all this, I run. This past November, I ran the New York City Marathon. If you're considering running a marathon just to see if you can, sure, go for it. I mean, it worked for me. It is a big commitment, but it will transform you into a better version of yourself, and you'll certainly become fitter, you'll be more in touch with your thoughts, mostly because all that time running will leave you alone with the voices inside your head, and you'll have a chance at working things out in a way that wouldn't happen if you were sitting in a chair binging, I don't know, The Bear or something. Yes, it takes over your personality, but you gotta stop worrying about things taking over your personality. I mean, something's going to. Just find something constructive, something that works for you, and just go for it. Also, I gotta take my own advice. When I moved to France a year ago, a couple of things were true. I hadn't been inside a classroom in 40 years. I hadn't taken a French class in at least that long, but now I had to learn, and fast. The city of Paris runs these programs that are basically French as a second language. They can be casual once a week things, or they can be intensive daily classes, 2 hours a day, every day. And if you pass them, you get a certificate, which is really useful if you're looking for a job here, or even if you just want to feel better about your ability to read and write and speak French, which is kind of where I'm at. I was never, ever good at casual learning. I've got to go full immersion on something, or else my wiring just won't help me maintain focus. Of course, these classes are a hot ticket. I finally got into one in November, 10 months after I started applying. But now that I'm here, I'm really trying to make a go of it. It's hard. I'm exhausted, but it's gonna happen. Now, if you've never learned a language before, let me just say, it's easy. Kidding. I'm kidding. It's easy until it's not, and then it becomes really hard, but it's doable. And the benefits are huge, and not just for people who travel. Even if you never leave your hometown, learning a language is gonna help you a lot. If you've never tried to learn a language before efficiently, just know this. The levels of fluency for most languages are officially kind of generally arranged into A, B, and C levels. A is kind of the beginner level, where you're just getting the basics of vocabulary and grammar down. You won't be able to hold a conversation with like a local at this point, but that's a good start, and you have to get through that level to get to anything else anyway. So this is where apps like Duolingo or Memrise will be really helpful. Past that, they become less and less helpful as you get a little better. Now, the B level is where you start putting these things together. You start working on assorted tenses and variations on how to say or write things. That's really fun. You start learning idioms. You can begin to have, let's say, halting conversations with locals in your new language, and you can watch TV or listen to a podcast or two and get at least the gist of what's going on. B1 proficiency in French is required for citizenship. That's where they draw the line. But I'm in a B2 class right now, and I feel like I'm just getting started learning this language. I can get by in French, but I'm getting by in French. I'm making my peace with the fact that I might go the rest of my otherwise, hopefully, long-ish life without being able to properly use the subjunctive case. I mean, I know the mechanics of it, but using it in conversation, Yeah, that might never happen. Levels C1 and C2 are where you become truly fluent. C1 is where French speakers might start to not immediately switch to English when you first open your mouth. I try not to feel insulted when this happens. I just assume it always will, and I just roll with it. In fact, yesterday for my birthday lunch, I spoke French to a server for the entire meal, and she spoke English back to me through the entire meal. And we just both kept it up through the whole meal, and neither of us blinked, and it was fine. Now, C2 proficiency, no idea. I'm assuming that means you can translate like Finnegan's Wake or something into your new language. I don't know. I'll never get there for French, so it feels kind of moot. So that's going to be my focus for the next little while. Keep running, keep getting better at French. I'm going to continue getting to know the city of Paris and the people in it, and hopefully I can make something meaningful for you to watch. I mean, that would be nice. That'd be nice.